think he even made me like roll up my sleeves to make sure nothing was underneath my sleeves, and like patted it down like they really be checking in the room.
Uh-oh, the game in trouble. Started out small, now they paying me double. Yeah, you can drip chip, baby, like mustard. Yeah.
Okay, y'all, so before we get into this video, I just wanted to tell you all about these 2 new perfumes that I got from Dossier. So thank you so much to Dossier for sponsoring today's video. Dossier is an inspired by perfume company, so they have all of your luxury high-end perfumes for a fraction of the cost, starting for as low as $29. And you can use my code, which will be on the screen, for additional money off. My favorite scents are this citrus tea and ambre saffron. It smells just like the Baccarat Rouge perfume, so if you're into that, go ahead and check it out. Dossier also has candles, which I love, so yeah, honestly, you really can't go wrong with it. This is like what I wear all the time. People always tell me that I smell good, and it's because I do, and it's thanks to Dossier. So I'm trying to help y'all out, so don't forget to check them out. I'll have the link in the description box, and also don't forget to use my code. Thank you so much again to Dossier for working with me on this video, and without further ado, let's get into the video. Hey y'all, it's Jordan, and I'm back with another video. If you're watching this and you don't even know what the MPRE is, well, kudos to you, but basically it's the ethics portion of the bar exam, how to be ethical, basically. So I took the MPRE November 4th, 2021, and I passed on the first try. I got a 90, which is like pretty decent. You know, I passed, so hey, the score doesn't even matter. As long as it passes, it passes, it passes. Basically, the test is out of 150 points, and the passing score depends on your jurisdiction. So I'm in DC, and the passing score for DC is a 75. I got a 90. California and Utah have the highest passing score requirement, and they require an 86. So technically with a 90, I can practice in any jurisdiction thus far, just with the MPRE score, you know, still take the bar and stuff, but whatever. Now I'm just going to talk about like how I studied for it, because I just want to share my experience, see if I can help anyone else out there, because I got guidance from like my mentors and stuff, but it wasn't from YouTube, so I'm helping y'all out in case you don't have like the mentor network that I do. Okay, so how long did I study? I studied for 2 weeks, but keep in mind, while I was studying, I was already taking PR, professional responsibility. I was already taking that as a class, so studying for it, I think taking the class really helped me, because some of the ideas I already had in my head. But yeah, I studied for 2 weeks. I've heard people on Reddit say they only study for like 1 day or 2 days. Like, no. I know a lot of people downplay the MPRE, but like at the end of the day, I wanted to take it seriously, and I know myself, I'm not always the strongest test taker, and I also was like weary about taking the MPRE at the same time as me taking PR as a class, because the test fell before I finished PR as a class. Like, it fell kind of in the middle, so I was worried about doing that, but I'm glad I did and got that mess over with. What I used to study, I used Barbary, so shout out to them. It was free. It kind of came along with like the 1L supplements. I know Barbary isn't free unless it's like a 1L class, but the MPRE stuff for Barbary is free, and I did it. So this is kind of how I broke up my weeks of studying. So week 1, I used that week to watch all the Barbary videos, and that was only like, you know, and when I say study for 2 weeks, like I was only studying for like, you know, 1 to 3 hours a day. Like, it wasn't intense studying at all. So yeah, I used the first week to watch all of the Barbary videos and lesson plan. It comes with an outline. I didn't really read the outline for real. Like, I just skimmed it, if that. But I mainly just watched the videos. And when I watched the videos, I actively watched them. I was taking notes as he was writing, just to make sure like I had the information. So yeah, I wrote notes. I wrote notes on my iPad. I never really referred back to them, but just that process of writing it down, it helped it stick in my brain. So yeah, I would just watch those videos like before I would go to class in the morning. Like, I would wake up and do that. So then week 2, so that was like the first week. My goal for the first week was to finish all the Barbary videos and like lesson plans. And the second week is when I started taking practice tests. So I did all of the practice tests that Barbary could offer. I did all of them. And they do like a timed thing. I think the MPRE is like 60 questions, and they give you 2 hours, which is a really long time. I finished in an hour. Like, I'd be surprised if I ever took more than an hour. But yeah, so that's what I spent the second week doing, is just practicing those questions. And I would say that's what really helped me, because there's only just so many questions they ask. Also, during my PR class, like in our lecture, our teacher would give us like, I think like maybe once every few weeks, like a practice little quiz with sample questions, and the questions were like the same from Barbary. So I would say to use the Barbary questions as like your guide. And like every time I took the Barbary questions, I finished very early, But yeah, so just to put that out there. And it's multiple choice, by the way, if you didn't know that. When I said all the questions, like they have all the questions and they have like an extra set of questions. I did the extra set of questions as well. Okay, so how I was scoring when I was taking these, I was scoring like between, like I would get like 30 to 35 right. Like the MPRE is pretty hard, I guess, because how is a passing score 75 and the test is at 150? So yeah, I was just trying to get above a 30 every time. Just because, you know, some of the questions are like sample questions, like I think 10 of them, that's not even going to be counted in your score. I basically aimed to get at least 35 right every time I took a test, and I think the lowest I got was a 30 when I was taking them. I don't know why my voice is going, y'all, but it's been a long day, bear with me. Maybe I should get some water. Hold on. Okay, I hope my voice sounds a little better. Okay, so unlike the LSAT, for the MPRE, I did study the night before. I studied up until that test. The morning of, let me see. I don't think I did anything the morning of, just because one, I wanted to get breakfast before that test, so I was focused on that. But the night before, I did do a practice set, just so, you know, because it's really a lot of memorization and like recognizing the patterns of the questions, because you'll see once you start studying for it, but you'll get the same types of questions again and again. Like I said earlier, I'll go back to this. So yeah, I took 2 weeks to study for the exam, and I would say if I wasn't busy with school and a job and like an externship, I probably could have studied in less. But if you're in school and studying for it, then yeah, I took 2 weeks just because I didn't want to cram. Like I didn't want to cram, and I knew that would just stress me out. So I spaced it out in 2 weeks. I was relaxed and fine and took it, but that was only studying like 1 to 3 hours a day. I think I probably could have like jam-packed it into less, but do with that information with what you will. I'm just telling you all my experience. Let's just break down what the MPRE is. So it's 2 hours, like 2 hours long. It's 60 questions and 10 are test questions, and they're all multiple choice, and the questions are basically like mini hypos, mini situations you'll probably find yourself in as a lawyer. So it'll say, oh, your client says that they can't pay you, should you go and take something that they gave you until they pay you back, like something like that. Or there'll be questions like, oh, you see a car accident and you know those people probably need a lawyer. Should you go up to them and say, hey, I'm a lawyer, I can help you? Like, you know, should you do that? Yes or no? Or, oh, you're a lawyer and, you know, you haven't really been doing X, Y, and Z but so long, but you want to create an advertisement that makes it seem like you're the best lawyer in the state, and da-da-da-da. Like, can you do that? Like little hypothetical things like that. I thought it was gonna be easier than it was. You'd be surprised, but I would say like it wasn't too bad. Like most of the stuff is low-key a little bit of common sense, but you just kind of have to learn the little caveats of things. Okay, so one thing I forgot to talk about was the actual experience on test day. So I believe my exam started around 10 a.m. It wasn't too early, and I went to a test center and I took the exam on a computer. When you go to the test center, they'll email you all this information, but they tell you that you can only bring your ID. I brought my ID and like, I brought snacks and I brought my phone, but I had to keep all that stuff in a locker. So just be prepared, like you can't really bring anything in there. They pat you down, like they make you empty your pockets, and like, I think he even made me like roll up my sleeves to make sure nothing was underneath my sleeves, and like patted my hood down. Like they really be checking in. The room had cameras. He showed me like the back room. He's like looking at everyone's screen, has cameras above. When you go in there, they'll give you like a sheet of paper that's not real paper. It's like a plastic little thing, and a dry erase marker that you can use to take notes and like scribe down. I recommend using that because it just helped me like break everything up so that my brain wouldn't get tired. And when you go in there, they also had noise canceling headphones at my test center, and I use those because that's how I practice, like in a quiet environment. So it was nice to have those noise canceling headphones. And one thing that was different was in MPRE, they let you highlight the questions. At my test center, I mean, it said I could highlight, but I could not figure it out. Like when I would try to highlight, it wouldn't stay. So maybe that was just me, but I couldn't highlight the text. But they also allow you to flag a question and you can just go back to it, and you just use like a regular PC computer. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it with how test day goes. I would say when you're choosing a test center, try to get one that's really close if you're not that much of a morning person. I am a morning person, but I wasn't trying to be driving super far. Like, I wanted it pretty close. So just ask people at your law school where they took it and try to like stick to that. I didn't do that though. I just chose the closest test place to me. So, but yeah, I just wanted to share that quick video this week. So let me know down below if you have any questions. Let me know your MPRE experience if you've already taken it. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.
Uh-oh, the game in trouble. Started out small, now they paying me double. Yeah, you can drip check, baby, like mustard. Yeah.